Hi, and thanks a lot for looking. This is video number 2 of my 72442 U-Code car. So let's go over some stuff. Okay, so 72455, everything on this engine is original, sans the belts, a few of the hoses, and some regular maintenance items. So let's start at the front. Core support. Obviously, as I've stated in my ad, this is an original paint car, so if you look there, you'll see the original General Motors fender shims. And then as we look up the fender, we actually see that those little nubs on the fenders, that was actually something that was changed in 1971, so that Oldsmobile would, those were actually what was called crush zones in 1971, so actually these are correct for 71 and 72. But you can really see the difference in an original paint, original Survivor car. So if we go back and we look into the back of the car, we'll see the B7. I don't know what the heck B7 stands for, but it's an original stamp, which is pretty neat. Now you see these hood hinges. These are actually the gray phosphate coating, and this is original. None of this has been reproduced. None of this has been repainted or anything like this. So that's pretty neat. So it's cool to see those hinges here. A lot of times you'll see these AC boxes. They're actually made out of fiberglass. You'll see them painted black. This thing is all original. You'll see the original Frigidaire sticker back there. So that's kind of cool, kind of interesting. Our AC compressor. It's an original AC compressor. It's the original AC compressor to the car, and it actually has the OK stamp on it. When it actually went down the assembly line, it was tested and tested OK. One of the other things that you'll see on this car, that's just my light here, even if we look down at the fuel pump, we see the original strap type clamps. So we see the original strap type clamps on the fuel lines. I've checked all those fuel lines. They're nice and supple, and this is actually a really nice driver. So, and look at this engine. This engine has never been repainted. It's just really, really amazing. None of these decals have ever been replaced or anything like that. And this car has 75,600 miles on it. The original hydrostatic valve is actually in really good shape. All the vacuum lines are still connected to it. One goes to the transmission, one goes to distributor, things like that. But a lot of people just take that valve out and plug it, and plug those vacuum hoses, and that's definitely not the right way to do it. The AC does work. It is ice cold. It does kick up when you turn the AC on, so it's kind of cool. Now, as we go up the hood, we're going to notice some things here. So this is what the factory did, because this is an original paint car. So you'll see the gray phosphate on the hood hinges and things like that, which is pretty neat and pretty cool to see. It's definitely not rusty. So, and that's actually the phosphate coating was actually act as an anode, and it would be one of the first things to rust on these cars. So it's really nice to see that. And actually the interior of the hood is a very rust prone place as well. So this paint, when we're looking at this paint here, this is all original. And actually we look here and it actually says 442, and that is actually from the factory, which is pretty neat. I've never seen 442 on a 442 hood. It'd be kind of go without saying, but whatever. Next, as we go down the hood, we see some other numbers here. We see 669 R4 or something like that, some kind of internal number of some sort, I'm not sure. Once again, the hood hinges with the gray phosphate coating. As we know, General Motors went to a dual bale master cylinder in '68 for safety, and that's the original brake booster. It's been rebuilt, it's not been replated, recoated, and it's also the original master cylinder, and that's also been rebuilt as well. So you see our original emissions decal here for a 455, obviously. Now, I'm not going to be able to show you. I'll take a picture of it and show it to you, but the VIN number is actually below the alternator on a pad there, and I'll actually the partial VIN number and the date code, so I'll post those things as well. A couple other items that I thought were noteworthy. I believe it is on this fender here. You see this circle here? That's actually from the factory. And actually, if you look inside the fender, you'll see a P And the P is actually from the factory, which would tell them, everybody, that that was a passenger side fender. 442 P passenger side fender. And oddly enough, they wrote P on this one too. So kind of weird and incorrect, but that's just how the factory did it. Original battery cables and things like that. It's the original alternator. A lot of times you'll see that this clamp has been removed, just cracked, things like that. When we go ahead and we look at the hood latch, you'll see that's also the gray phosphate coating is actually really clear and transparent on that. None of the bolts are rusty or anything of that nature. Original Harrison radiator. These headlights. When we talk about these headlights, these are actually the original T3 headlights, and the T3 headlights went to a manufacturer called Guide in 1972. So actually this is the original, 3 of the 4 original headlight bulbs. Actually you'll see the 442 grill, it's all in really good shape, and chrome is really nice on this thing and all that. But so let's go ahead and shut the hood. We've definitely talked about under the hood enough. This is original paint. Believe it or not, this car is 100% original paint. These stripes are original stripes. The hood stripes, a lot of people think that that's incorrect. Now that's factory applied. Now when we talk about 442s, you'll see the super stock wheels this car came from the factory with. You'll notice that the 4 and 4 are actually really close together, and the 2 is actually further apart, and that's actually correct. And I don't know why the factory did that, but they didn't evenly space them. So just a cool factoid, I suppose. This stripe is actually correct 442 stripe. Let's look at the interior of this car. All right, so first of all, let's talk about some things. All right, so we're looking, this is all our original weather stripping. So all this weather stripping on this car is original. A couple of things that are noteworthy from this perspective here is this striker plate here. It's usually missing, but this striker plate is actually a convertible only item, and there's actually a corresponding plate in the door jamb, was to reduce basically knocking of the door when the door was closed, rigidity to the car. It's kind of an afterthought, but General Motors did that for many years before this. Then we look here, and a lot of people, when they restore these cars, they incorrectly do not paint the latch and do not paint the screws and stuff like this. This was all painted after that was assembled, so some of these big name restoration guys do it wrong. I don't want to mention any names, but you know who you are. Anyway, this sticker here. This is the build date of the car, May 1972, the gross vehicle weight, etc., so on and so forth. More importantly enough, the VIN number here, and passenger car. So this is the original sticker from 1972, which the VIN number corresponds to the VIN number of the vehicle. Now some of the other stuff we want to look at here is, our door jamb. It's really nice to see nice, really clear, evident spot welds in the door jamb, where the door shell would meet the door skin. So that's really nice to see. Obviously this car is 100% original paint, so it doesn't have any mud in it or anything like that. So it's really nice to see a nice, really solid piece there. All right, so look at our door panel. We've got sport mirrors, original door panels. The front seats on this car, kind of a conundrum. So when I got this car, it had one small seam split in the seat, and it really, really bothered me. So I went ahead and bought a set of Legendary upholstery for the front seats, and also the foam was a bit degraded, so I went ahead and wanted to replace that. So I started on the driver's side, but then it didn't quite, it was a little bit brighter than the passenger side, so I did both the fronts. I really, really regret doing that. I should have probably left it with the seam split in it, but you know what? Hey, it is what it is. So as we go inside the car, this is quite interesting. This is the original new car sticker. So this was actually first for 1972, and this actually talks about emissions and things like that. And it was on the car when the car was new, and it is still there. It might have partially fallen off, but it's for the most part still there, and it's been there for 40 some years. Let me go ahead and put this top down so we can see some stuff here. All right, as I'm putting the top down here, the boot is actually reproduction because the original was shrunk. I have the original boot as well. It's in a box, and that comes with the car as well. Let's go ahead and pull this guy out. Probably put the top up a little bit more to get that out of there. Okay, now that that's established, I gotta put the top down. Top is brand new. Motor works great. And you can see all that original paint in there and stuff. Let's go around to the passenger side so I can get that free there. It's down in here. Top is new. Original top was shrunk. It bothered me. I replaced it. All right. So before we go start putting our boot on and all that stuff, all right, we get it. There's a boot for the car. Okay. It's not what I want to get at. Up here, commonly you'll see a lot of rust and bubbling in this convertible top header. Underneath this vinyl wrap, you don't see any of that here. This car's not a rusty car, so kind of nice to see. We look inside the doors. This is all original paint. It might be hard to see here, but real nice, clear, evident in between the door shell and the door skin, fender. Looking underneath the dash of this car, this is an AC car, so we'll talk about that a little bit more. I'm going to turn my flash on, so we'll do a third video.